right. All right already. What's up, everybody? I almost forgot my name. It's the best spot. Kid Smooth. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Games podcast. I'm your host, Kid Smooth. I got my co-host here, and he go by the name of Notorious.
Hello. What's
DRE. What up?
Good, man. First off, happy belated birthday, my guy.
I appreciate it, bro.
Absolutely.
Leveled
what's
up.
Going on with the chat, man? Yeah, leveled up. Yeah,
man. Oh man, dude, man. So we missed the week. We missed last week, and
we did.
I apologize for my lack of communication. I didn't tweet anything, or anything to that magnitude. Say something, Dre. I just want to make sure we're picking you up.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I got you.
Good.
I just want to make sure you're picking you up. Yeah, I didn't tweet anything. And I was like, I forgot. I was like, shit. Maybe, and I don't know. Did I even stream anything? Did I even stream anything? I don't know. No, I put out a video. A video because I think that was the way FPS Boost went.
Right. I seen that video. Yeah.
Shout out to Big Claw Gaming. He just updated me with like a template for PX for hopefully the next podcast. So
nice.
I gotta have him send me your PayPal. There we go. Take care of him for that. So shout out to him. But yeah, man, we did a video. A lot of news happened.
They did, yeah.
And then of course I figured you were just cutting slack because you need to play Returnal. So
yeah, playing Returnal. Man. That game, man, that damn near put me in the hospital, dog, for real.
Yeah, so obviously we're gonna obviously that's one of the games. Obviously that's the game that's been in rotation, Returnal. You also played what else? What else was it? Was it anything you were playing right before Returnal and right after?
What was I playing before Returnal? I know I completed something. I think it was a Plague's Tale.
Was it? Was it a Plague's Tale?
I think that was
a
Plague's Tale. Which that was really good. I really enjoyed that.
Okay.
And then just this morning I completed Battlefront 2 campaign. And then and so now I'm playing Judgment on PS5.
Why'd you buy it there? Ain't like your saves carried over.
I mean, I'm gonna have to buy it.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm playing that too. I'm playing Judgment. But I put it down for a little bit because of FPS Boost came out. I wanted to try a ton of games.
Right.
So I've been messing around here and there with some different type of games and whatnot. But I'm probably gonna return to Judgment since the narrative is great and they just revealed the sequel, which is coming out this year. It's weird.
That's funny because when I watched the trailer, I was like, man, this looks really good. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, let me go ahead and buy Judgment so I can get accustomed to the story. And because when that trailer came out, I was like, man, I want to cop that as soon as it come out. So I was just like, let me go ahead and play Judgment. It was only $40.
Yep. $40 next gen only. $40.
Yeah. So and so far I'm only like maybe 2 hours in it, so I haven't even probably scratched the surface yet. So,
right with you, bro.
Yeah,
but I think they did a good job with you played the original, so right?
I did play the original.
I never played the original. I think they did a good job visually. The storytelling, the voice acting is great.
I didn't beat the original though, so I didn't complete it. But yeah, the voice acting, especially the English dub. Yeah, English dub is pretty legit.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I thought the English dub for Like a Dragon was good too, even though I fell asleep on the game because it takes too freaking long.
Right.
Quick, just thoughts. What do you think of them turning Yakuza permanently to
I've seen that to
RPG? Yeah.
I mean, I guess it was time for a change, man. Probably the way I see it is that Yakuza 7. Mm-hmm. That's probably sold the most.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, well, the fans like this, so we're gonna keep going with it. So.
Absolutely. I'm actually digging your shirt. You did the PlayStation thing today, and I just happened to wear the Xbox shirt today, so that's actually pretty fair. That's pretty fair. So I'm happy you did that. Shout out to the peoples in the chat. I see Hustle and Motivate. I see Pose. And I see David Gaines, man. David Gaines. Man, I'm surprised he's here. He says,
that's my guy.
Well, smooth, even though we go at it. Yeah. Brarios, who's always here, to all the podcast. All right. So let's open up. Returnal. The floor is yours. You're going to tell me about this game. I obviously haven't touched it, but I had a lot to say about it because I enjoy busting people's balls. But tell me about it.
What did you say about it? What did you say about it?
I think it's a glorified version of ReCore. I think the game is broken. I'm not a fan of the. I'm not a fan of the concept of the game. I think the game is too expensive, and the bugs and patches is just proving me right. But I'm saying all of this from a person from the outside looking in. I haven't played the game. I haven't touched the game. I'm just saying this from like pretty much as a biased fanboy. I think the game is overpriced. I think it's broken. I'm not a fan of the concept. Now, as I post on Twitter, I got a PlayStation coming. It'll be here in a few days, right? I have to do a Returnal challenge. There's money on the line, so I'm gonna prove these dudes I can beat these games. I'm gonna give it a crack at it, and but that's just me, just saying whatever I'm saying. But the thing is, I can't give a proper assessment, and that's why you're here. That's why we got this podcast.
To address. Okay, so yes, there is crashes. There have been crashes. There have been bugs, and this is unacceptable. No doubt about that. But before I go, I just want people to stop it with the trying to compare this to Cyberpunk, because it is nowhere near, absolutely nowhere near Cyberpunk's level.
Wasn't that the only one who did that though? I'm right here. I was the only one who did that.
I didn't know, but I seen multiple people saying, trying to compare it to Cyberpunk. It is not even on that level. Like with Cyberpunk, there's a fucking book of fixes for that game. But anyway, there are crashes, there are bugs. I myself encountered a super crash where it completely shut down my PS5, completely. I was like, whoa. To the point where it wouldn't even turn back on when I was trying to turn it back on. I had tweeted, I was like, oh shit, I think my console bricked, because that shit was not coming on. But that's fixed now. So I understand where you're coming from about the way the game was marketed, and you saying that you don't like how the game is structured, because I understand that to a certain degree, because it really wasn't marketed that way. It wasn't marketed like a roguelike type game. From what I've seen, it wasn't marketed that way in the trailers and stuff like that. So yes, a lot of people is going to be turned off from this game, because if you die, you have to start all the way over from the beginning. So that's just how it is. I did beat it, so this is coming from somebody who actually beat the game. I did have trophy glitches where I didn't get trophies for bosses that I beat. But so with all the kind of negative stuff out of the way, the game is really good. And the gameplay loop is really, really good. It definitely makes you hone in on your skills and makes you become better at the game. That's absolutely what it does. But gameplay is king when it comes to Returnal. Graphically, it's nothing to write home about. It looks decent. Some would say it looks like a last gen game. I wouldn't argue with that. It looks okay. The particle effects though are really cool. And the DualSense, oh my god, that's it right there. I will put the DualSense in Returnal on the Astro level of how good it is. You just feel everything, literally from the raindrops to the different firing mechanics from the different weapons, to the boosters. And so it's so cool. I took my headphones off and was just listening to the sound effects coming from the controller, and I was kind of blown away about it. I was like, oh my god, this is really freaking dope. The 3D audio is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Especially when you're fighting bosses who throw projectiles towards you and it's whizzing by your head and you hear it going by. Oh, it's absolutely lovely, absolutely lovely. It is challenging, obviously. But I would say it's challenging because the enemies take a lot of health. Like I wouldn't say it's challenging because it's hard. I say the health, the way you lose health is probably the most challenging part, and the most you have to get used to that the most. To me, in my opinion. But it's a good game. The replayability, like, okay, so you said that you don't think it's warrant the $70 price tag, and I have to disagree with you there, because there's a lot of replayability in the game, and because everything is randomly generated, you're not doing the same thing. I say every 5 times you get like the same map probably, but more than not, you're not playing the same map in the same way. So there's a lot of replayability, and you got like the challenges and stuff like that. So I would say it does warrant the $70. Actually, I pay $84. I pay for the deluxe edition. So,
no, they got you.
They got me because I don't plan on going back to it. I need to take a break from Returnal for a minute. But I do think it warrants its $70 tag.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean it's a good game. It's definitely a solid 8 out of 10 in my opinion. The story was kind of sucks because it sucks because you have to look outside the game to understand the story. And in my opinion, if you have to do that for any game, then to me that means the storytelling wasn't good for someone to understand what's going on.
Does it rely on audio, like a lot of the audio logs, or?
Oh yeah, a lot of audio logs. Yep.
Fair enough. I mean, that's the cheapest way to try to build a lore, you know.
Yes, but so the story is. I could care less about the story. Like I said, Returnal is all about the gameplay, all about the gameplay loop. The guns feel great. The movement feels great. The bosses are. The last boss is not that good because he's super easy, but the other 4 bosses are pretty cool. I had the most struggle in on the 3rd boss. He was kicking my ass from left to right. So, but yeah, other than that, man, it's a really good game. Is it game of the year caliber? I don't think so. But it's definitely a really good game. Really good game.
Let me give a shout out to David Gaines for the $10 super chat. He said, "We gonna turn over a new leaf, smooth. LOL, no beef. But I think you wildin' with the Returnal take. Game is fire. Give it a 9 out of 10. Knocked it for the glitches it had, but gameplay and story was fire." Wait a minute. You said take. There's no story. He says 9 out of 10, and he only knocked it a point because of the freaking glitches.
Well, like I said, in my opinion, the story was kind of non-existent. I mean, it's there, but it's hard to follow. I couldn't even so like BG had a Twitter space like a couple days ago.
Spoiler space, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and like we was kind of like on the same page. It's like, okay, because I have to go outside of the game to understand the game, then the storytelling wasn't really done well. And so we were kind of on that same wavelength. But I mean, hey, that's his opinion. I'm glad he could follow the story because I couldn't. Shit. But yeah, it's a good game. It's a good game. Good game.
Yeah. I mean, I think personally, if I played it, I would probably like the core of the game. I just don't like the concept. I don't want to do this whole dying, going back. I mean, by the time I get it, hopefully they patch in like some supercuts in there.
So what everybody is saying is that because of these glitches and because of these crashes and the crashes making you go back to the beginning, I think everybody is on the same page of House Marquee needs to implement checkpoint or a save mechanism in the game, so where you don't have to where you don't go all the way back to the beginning. So
yeah, but I think
we'll see if they listen or not.
I think the game is built like around that. That was the primary concept. I think that's what gave the game its challenge.
Right. But I'm saying, like, but because we're having these crashes, it's like it's not our fault on these crashes, so we shouldn't be penalized on going back to the beginning and having to start all the way over. So I'm hoping they implement some kind of checkpoint or save mechanic in the game, because that sucks when that happens and then you have to go all the way back. So that sucks.
No, I got you. All right, so Returnal, you sticking with an 8 out of 10. A lot of people like it. A lot of people talking about it. This game, getting a whole lot of praise from everything from DualSense support to visuals, and then I think people scaled back on the visuals once they found out it was super 1080p or something like that.
I know you seen that that meme going.
Yeah, the image. Yo, what was she looking at? A mirror?
It's a mirror, so that's the thing, though. They took the screenshot of her looking at herself in the mirror, which is automatically going to look scaled down and look lower res than the actual in-game model. So I thought that was pretty funny.
But I know their ray tracing attempt, like I know it's low tier ray tracing. It's like low quality.
I don't even know what the ray tracing is in the game.
Yeah, that's I was surprised. I'm like looking at the gameplay. What ray trace? It's like ray trace global illumination or something like that, right? So
I couldn't even tell you. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't stand out. Like nothing about Returnal says here's ray tracing. So I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about these games, like, all right, so Returnal. Like I said, I can't say much on it based off from what I've seen on Twitter. I've seen a lot of crash reports. I've seen a lot of complaints. I've seen some people who managed to beat the game fairly quickly.
I did, yep. BG,
people did it within within the first weekend of release.
Hold up. Fucking Randall Thor, he killed that shit. Like, I think he only had like 6 deaths or something like that. He killed that.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, is this game really worth $70 for when you factor in the issues, the type of game, and then how pretty much quick you can get through this game? And you keep saying replayability, but there's free-to-play games with a whole lot of replayability. There's, I think Hoods and Legends, if enough people play, I think that's going to have a whole lot of replayability. Judgment is a 60-hour game. It's $40.
It's a hour game?
I said 60 hours. It's somewhere between like 40. I think it's like 40 plus hours. Judgment.
Damn. Oh man, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the longer side. These guys don't make short games at all. Like,
say with Returnal, man. Just okay. So you're going to get it.
I gotta find it used. I'm not trying to spend 70 for that.
I'm trying to think, because I mean you're going to die a lot, and that's not me trying to get on you. I mean everybody died a lot. So and it is frustrating. It is frustrating. But I think like when you finally like defeat a boss and you get that sense of accomplishment, that carries a long way. So I mean, like I said, the replayability is there. There's a lot of secrets and stuff that you can find, and I know some people got the platinum already, but yeah, so I don't know. I guess it's in the $70. It's in the eye of the beholder. I guess.
Phaso007 says Returnal is not worth $70 or even $60. Marketed as a 4K and it runs at 1080p. And did the game devs blame the crashes or the problems on PlayStation?
On the OS, yes, they did.
Okay. 70. Yeah. And they're on patch what, 4?
Oh yeah, so the patches have been crazy because they release a patch and then they take it away, and then they release another patch and then they take that away, and then now they're on a new patch now. So I'm just like, good God.
Yeah. All right. So Returnal, while PlayStation guys were celebrating the release of Returnal and playing it and enjoying it, I was able to celebrate the release, not of second extension, because I'm not really feeling the game like that right now. But I was able to celebrate over 70 plus games being FPS boosted, supporting FPS Boost. So that was the big thing from Xbox this week was FPS Boost. They've added exactly 74 games. And the current total of games that support FPS Boost is 97. And there's a whole lot. Now, I had the information. I kept giving teases without spoiling the whole thing.
I did see that.
And when it finally came out, I was still generally happy about the list and what games got the FPS Boost. Just to give you a take, like, there's a time I'm not going to go over the entire list, but I'll probably just highlight some big games. So you got a ton of Assassin's Creed games that was able to get FPS boosted, which includes the Ezio collection, the Rogue remaster. Because remember how they that 1 year there wasn't a traditional Assassin's Creed release. They released the remaster to Rogue, which was a 360 PS3 only title, because I think that came out the year Unity came out. And they remastered it. It was 4K, and now we can play it at 4K 60. Assassin's Creed Unity finally got its proper 60 FPS boost, so now you don't need the physical game. You can play the game at 60 frames per second, which runs good. Watch Dogs 1, which is...
I seen you was playing it. That looked crazy.
Yeah, I actually started playing. I started to clean up some side missions on there. It's cool. I mean, it's one of the games, because there's a lot of games that got FPS boosted that, they're Gen 1 Xbox One games, so the resolutions was on the fuzzy side. Watch Dogs 1, for some reason, I don't know what techniques they use. I know it's sub 1080p. I know it's for sure sub 1080p. But it gives off a cleaner presentation than a lot of the games that release. Like, it has a cleaner presentation than Watch Dogs 2 for sure. It has a cleaner presentation than the Xbox One version of like some of the recent like Far Cry games. So it's a decent game, and the 60 frames just makes it so much better. But Far Cry 5 got its FPS boost along with Far Cry Primal. There is Deus Ex. I think that's Mankind Divided. That's the recent
Divided.
One. Yep. You got Dying Light, Dead Island, all the Dead Islands. You got Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. So now you can play Shadow of the Tomb Raider at 4K 60. I was playing the DLC, and I'm like, all right, this is it. You got some of the games benefited more so the Series X. Like Gears of War 4 was on the list, but on the Series X you can already play that at 60. It was more so because the Series S couldn't tap into the Xbox One X version, so that's why they did Gears 4. Gotcha. You had quite a few. The Division 1, it's now 4K 60 with the boost. You got Recore. That was Recore for those, for the Xbox guys who couldn't get their hands on Returnal. Recore is boosted to 60 frames and it's at Xbox One X resolution, so it's 1440p 60 frames. It's the way the game was supposed to be played. Games like that can't be 30 frames per second. So
correct.
It feels so much better now. I'm trying to think of other highlighted games that were big. Mad Max quadrupled its frame rate. It quadrupled its frame rate from 30 to 120.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What's that? 1080p 120?
It's 1080p 120.
Nice.
They added the original Super Lucky Tales. They added They added Anthem, Battlefield Hardlines, Yakuza 6. And a whole bunch of Lego games. All of them, like almost all of them, is FPS boosted. Life is Strange. I don't know. I got a ton of. Actually, let me go to.
So you named a lot of Ubisoft games, right?
Almost every Ubisoft, every EA game so far, and almost every Bethesda. So the major publishers, Ubisoft and the EA.
So, like, do you think that Ubisoft is going to do the EA Play route and jump into Game Pass?
Absolutely, I think that's happening. Okay, that's happening this fall, I believe, or before the end of the year.
That would be nice. That would be cool.
Yeah, I think that's going to be more so something that happens. we'll get the announcement this summer.
Yeah, E3 probably.
Yeah, and they'll Game Pass this holiday season. And that's going to be big because that's why I held off on buying some of these games, Ubisoft games that were FPS Boost, because I was like, damn, these games are going to be in Game Pass before the end of the year. And I was like, let me hold off because it'll give me some options. It'll give me something to play depending on what time of the year this thing happens. I could play it before, like, you know, Halo comes out or something like that. I'm just trying to. They had a list.
Oh, okay, so is this FPS Boost tiding you over? Because there is still a lack of, let's call it what it is, a lack of first-party games coming from Xbox.
Yeah.
Do you feel that this justifies the
Hold on.
wait?
I got your. Okay. All right. I just want to name a couple big games that I mentioned.
Okay.
Alien Isolation's now 60 frames per second. Dragon Age Inquisition. Wasteland 3. Halo Wars 2. Spartan Assault. Unruly Heroes. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. 120 frames per second. Beholder, I don't care about that stuff. MotoGP. Shadow Warrior 2. Yeah. All right. So you said, does this hold me over? Because all right. So I'm gonna tell you this. I got your question. I understand your question. I know where it's coming from. Does FPS Boost make up for the lack of new first-party releases for the system? Does it make up for the lack of that?
Correct.
And I'm gonna answer this as honest as I possibly can be. Absolutely. Because I say that to say this because I don't care who you are. I haven't played every last game that came out, right? That released for the entire, like, there's games that I missed, Sleeping Dogs. There's games that I skipped out on. Now, is it better than getting new games? No, but does it make up? Yes, because it gives me something to experience. Like, the thing is, regardless, when I had the PS5, right? To me, I still had nothing to play. After I played the games that I wanted to, I had really nothing that I wanted to play. Like, before I ended up selling it, I contemplated going back to Days Gone and Ghost of Tsushima. And what are those? Those are older games. Like, it wasn't like PlayStation was like front loaded with all these great exclusives that I wanted to play. Demon Souls, not my type. Godfall, I bought it, I hated it. And the only game I really got most out of was Spider-Man, and my next big anticipated game was Ratchet, which is due in June. So even if I had a PlayStation, I still wouldn't have played it until Ratchet. Now, Returnal, I wouldn't have bought, but reason why I'm playing it because it's a challenge. Now, if that would have came, that is going to be making me play Returnal is because of a YouTube challenge. I'll be doing that. That's the only thing. I'm not playing Return because I actually want it. I wasn't going to buy Returnal because it was $70.
Hold on, let me stop you. Let me stop you right here because now you got me thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, so why? So it seems like you're only playing these games now is because they got the FPS Boost.
Yeah.
Why didn't you play those games if you say you had nothing to play on your PlayStation? Why didn't you play those games that you're playing now on your PlayStation?
Because I didn't buy them on PlayStation, or I don't have no access. I don't buy games. I don't buy third-party games on PlayStation. I only buy PlayStation exclusives on PlayStation. Like, unless, like, there's some exceptions where if I generally start, like Battlefront 1, I generally love that game. And I bought the Star Wars version of the custom the Dark Vader PlayStation 4. I had it, I enjoyed it, and then obviously because I'm an Xbox person, I bought a copy on Xbox as well, so I could go back and forth. But I didn't mind playing it on PlayStation. And game like NBA Live, I'm a beast at NBA Live. I can play that anywhere. So it was like, you know what? Just in case I need one of these dudes on PlayStation to get their ass whipped, let me get one here. So those are really the two games where I kind of went in. And matter of fact, no, Batman too, because they had a crispy silver Batman PS4 that I bought. And I got that.
Damn,
yeah. And the thing is, all these unboxings are available on YouTube. So people be acting like, oh, you buying all these consoles. They ain't say any of this stuff when I had about 5 different unboxings of the PS4 of different custom PS4 that I had. Dark Vader, Spider-Man, Batman. I had so many different types of play. I had the Last of Us remastered bundle. I had so many PS4 consoles that I unboxed, but it wasn't a big deal. But now they see me buying and selling consoles, and it's a problem. I'm like, dude, I done from 2014 to 2016. This was constant. I didn't just keep all these consoles. I didn't have 5 PlayStations just chilling. But no, yeah, a lot of these games, right, that I'm naming FPS Boost and stuff like that, weren't games I would have bought on a PlayStation regardless. I wasn't going to buy these on PlayStation. And the reason why I wasn't playing them currently on the Xbox Series because there was no real enhancements to them. With the exceptions of the games that naturally got the enhancements because of in the dynamic or the unlocked frame rates that naturally ran better. So now is these games like, all right, now I'm interested in playing these older games because they're playing better. They're free remasters. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, ReCore, Prey, those are legit free remasters right now.
Are these games in Game Pass? Like, is the whole list in Game Pass?
The entire no. Majority of these games, like every EA game, obviously is in. There's like majority of the games can be found in Game Pass because of EA playing Game Pass Ultimate and stuff like that. And some of these games was given away with games with gold back when games with gold would actually give you good games.
Right.
But yeah, no, a lot of these games you just gotta hope you either owned it or you gotta wait for a second.
You own the games that you're currently playing.
Oh, quite a few. Yeah. A lot of the games that some of us I actually owned.
Gotcha.
So I didn't have to go back and rebuy anything. Like Shadow of the Tomb Raider I owned, and like the Division I owned, ReCore I owned, all that stuff. Like there's a lot of these games I already owned, and some of them I had access to because I used to game share with someone. So, and I don't have access to them now. Like Mad Max, I was like, I know I played that shit, but I was like, I know I didn't buy it. And I was like, who did I game share with when I had access to that game? That's why I don't have access to it now. But yeah, dude. And like my friend Pedro got boosted. I was like, I thought I had that game because I was like, I have achievements in the game, but I forgot it was in Game Pass, but it's no longer in there. I actually don't own that game. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, man. FPS Boost is dope, man. I know people are giving it flack.
It's
some. I mean, I don't get why, but I mean they are. I think it's pretty cool. I do think it's pretty cool that these games are getting updated. Now, to me, in my opinion, it doesn't justify the lack of first party. But hey, at least they're doing something, I guess. But yeah, it's cool. I like it a lot. I only tried Battlefield 5, and I only downloaded it just to try the boost. And
FPS. See, the thing about
drop,
EA games, dude.
Like
right,
that.
so games that I'm not a fan of doing, I'm not a fan of the FPS boost because of the resolution drop. Now, once again, a lot of these games, there was a handful of them that didn't receive a FPS resolution drop, but because like I said, it's all engine based. So a lot of EA games were doing Frostbite. It's a tough, and it really didn't really start doing good until like the mid-gen consoles came out, and even then it was a challenge. But like the Far Cry 5s and the Far Cry New Dawns, and all the Battlefield games, those are the resolution drop. It just hurts because those weren't getting like a native 1080p on Xbox One. That's when the Xbox One kind of fucks us because you're not getting the cleanest 1080p image. I think Far Cry 5 is like 1440 by 1080, so it's like it's close to the native 1080 but not quite there, and it kind of gives off this fuzzy look. Battlefield, those are rough. I would say if you're gonna, I feel like to me, unless these games are actually would be better suited, right? The FPS like Battlefields and the Far Cry games, especially Battlefields, the games that are going to 120. Now I know you're not going to get those 4K images at 120. I don't even care if those was cross-gen games. They were going to drop the resolutions to get that. Even fucking Dirt 5 is not even like 4K 120. It's like I get it. So I understand it would be the same scenario of terms of resolution drop. The thing is, the image quality would be better though if it was a proper cross. Right. The image quality would be better, but it won't be the resolution would still be around 1080 to 1440 at 120. But it would be a better image. It won't be that fuzzy. I feel like Battlefield 5, Battlefield 1, Titanfall. If you want to play those at 120, the best bet is if you have a monitor, 27 inches, 1440p monitor, it's gonna look fine. You're not gonna. It's when you're on like a fucking 65 inch or 55 inch to CX and everything's magnified, that the shit, those flaws is gonna stick out. If you're on a much smaller screen, you're not gonna notice it. It's gonna actually be fine. It's gonna be more comfortable. And that's why I say, if you're gonna try out, if you want to play Battlefront 2 and Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1, play it at its native mode, because even if without FPS Boost to 120, the way that it runs on the Series X, you're getting peak performance. I mean, performance to the point, it wasn't running like that. It wasn't constant or consistent like that on the Xbox One X. What people forget is when the Xbox One X came out, all the developers, when they came to Xbox, it was like, who can get the highest textures on? So they would throw literally the highest textures, the highest resolutions, and they'll have it targeting for a 60 frames per second. It would never hit 60. That's why the frame rates would be all over the place, but they could say 4K or native 4K or high resolution textures. Now you put those games in their native mode on the Xbox Series X, you're like, oh shit. Like when I played Battlefront 2 on the Series X, I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, yo, this is dope. So like games like Battlefield 1, when they got this Xbox One X enhancement, and Battlefield 5, they look really good because the textures were too high for Xbox One X. You know, because they wanted to show that they can do 4K on Frostbite and everything. Now it naturally, you're getting your 4K resolution target, and the great thing is they were using dynamic resolution scale, so now they're at the upper bounds all the time. They're always at 4K, and you're getting a locked 60 frames per second. I was like, that's the best way to play. If you're playing on like a 4K TV and everything like that, fuck FPS Boost 220 on those games. Play it at the 4K 60. You're not going to be disappointed, because you're not going to lose the fidelity and all that stuff that they got in there. There are beautiful games in their native mode. Now Battlefield 4, no, you play it at fucking 120
because it's already 720.
It's a fucking play. Absolutely.
Yeah. Look, Ash. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That game. But yeah, FPS Boost is great. I don't understand why. The thing I get pissed off at is the people that come up with this excuse that they run to the old games narrative, like, it's narrative, they specialize in the old games and all this other stuff. And the reason why it bothers me is like, yo, bro, the minute PlayStation announces that they boosting Bloodborne or Last of Us, the fuck Twitter's gonna blow up. Absolutely. And I'm like if you're not willing. If you're not willing to stay silent on an announcement like that, like, you can't come at us for celebrating 90 plus games that just got dramatically better. You know what I mean? So it's like, come on, don't do that. Know you will be hyped if fucking Bloodborne get boosted to the 60 FPS.
Yeah, because like I said, God of War, as soon as they announced it was 60 frames, I beat it again.
The last three games that got the last three games that they went back to up the frame rate on PlayStation went trending on Twitter. I'm like, come on, dog, don't do that. Don't do that, man. Like, come on, be honest with yourself.
I feel you on that.
So the next thing, and we could transition here, is the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. They released their specs across all platforms, and every platform is got two modes: a performance mode and resolution mode. Now, these games aren't native next gen versions of the game, right? So those performance and resolution modes were actually the intent for Xbox One X and PS4 Pro. Right. So they got the 60 frames mode, they got their 30 frames mode. Now that they're backwards compatible, those games can now tap into the Series X and PS5 power, and something happened. So the interesting take is the Xbox One X and the Xbox Series S is a tie, right? 4K 30 resolution for both Series S and One X. 4K 30 or 1440p 60 for performance, right? So watch, you got the Xbox One X, Series S, same experience, right? Just gonna be faster loads on the Series S. PS5, it taps into the PS4 Pro, which is 4K, but it gets 4K 60 and 1440p 60. So it's no need to actually do a performance. Just pay. I don't get that performance. It's the weirdest shit, right? So the Xbox Series X, however, gets 4K 60 or 1440p 120.
Right.
Which is insane for a game like Mass Effect, but people are like, what the fuck? And it recently just hit me. It was like, it literally just hit me of what's actually happening, right?
It's the backwards compatibility.
It's a backwards compatibility, but there's a trick that Xbox did, right? So in 2018 or 2017, Xbox added a feature to Xbox One X that made no sense to me. And I remember when I was buying different monitors and whatnot, I'm like, we have this 120 hertz mode on Xbox One X, but I was like, maybe it's the dashboard because there's not a damn game, not a single game running at 120 frames. We barely get 60. So I don't know what this is for. Maybe it's a dashboard thing. And I think the only one game ran above 60 frames per second. It was Rainbow Six, because they had an uncapped frame rate mode, and if you had a monitor that was above 60, you can get above 60 frames, and that was the first one that did it. But I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, but why did they put this feature in the Xbox One X if it never was going to be used? And what they did was they put this feature in the Xbox One X so their next generation console can fucking flourish off of it. Yeah. So it's the weirdest. So because now that I was like, okay, what's happening is the PS5 is reading PS4 Pro's profile, right? With their that's why it has two fucking 60 frames modes, one at 4K, one at 40p. But on the Xbox, it's literally, if you're playing that game on the One X Mass Effect, right? It's not going to reach 120. It's just not. However, because when you're playing on Series X, it thinks it's running, it can tap into that free 120 hertz mode that's just there. And so now that becomes the default mode. And that's why I'm like, why are there so many fucking games that have 120 frames per second? And I'm like, oh, that feature was on the Xbox One X. But now it makes sense. They
knew what they was doing. Yeah, they knew what they was doing. Absolutely.
I'm like, that shit is crazy. I'm like, how do you think like that? But I talked about that on Planet Xbox a couple of days ago, but it just blew my mind.
Yep. And like I said, in order for PS5 to get 120, it has to get a native port.
Yeah, it has to get a native port.
Yeah. So that's the second thing about it. I think it just goes to show that Sony was truly looking to not care about the last generation.
And
so but hey, it is what it is.
It sucks. It sucks for the simple fact that I won't say it sucks because the PlayStation, I mean, their devs, they go back and they do give some of the games, PS5 treatments and stuff like that. So the Ratchet and Clank did their thing. They had to go back, flip a switch. Ghost of Tsushima, God of War. Now everybody's waiting for The Last of Us. Everybody's waiting for Bloodborne. Maybe The Order or something like that, right? Maybe Knack. Maybe it could get. I don't know who. So they did.
I think Knack did get like a 60. I think,
but it was 60 on PS4 Pro too. But it was. I don't think it was locked. It can now run completely locked.
Yeah, now. Yeah, right. Okay, got you.
I think the thing that sucks is because they do have to go back and change those. They don't have it. It's not. Whereas Xbox. So what this does is it means that third-party games won't be able to do that on PlayStation unless they make those proper ports, and that's where things get. It was a wise move. I applaud it, but like,
hold on. Did you? Okay, so I remember that bet that you had with Black Bond saying that the Xbox was going to have more 120 frames. Were you banking on like what's happening now? Like, were you banking on that to boost your, I guess, argument?
I can't say I was banking on that particular. I didn't know that was going to be the case. Okay. I just thought I was just banking on power difference. I was just like, all right, Xbox. Okay. I was looking at the CPU, and I'm like, oh, they're going to be able to hit 120 and 60 frames, no problem. Gotcha. They're definitely going to be able to hit this shit, right? So I was banking on that and just hoping I was right.
Okay.
And then when they tease FPS Boost, I'm like, oh shit! But I didn't win anything because I canceled that bet.
Okay.
I canceled that bet because I had a group of bets, and I didn't feel like doing all these bets and whatnot. But
that's one you should have kept.
Yeah, it was one. I was gonna win we had like a 5 bet thing. I was on pace to win like 3.5 of them.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
The one I would have lost was Halo because it got delayed. And I forget which was the other one. Now, damn, what was it? So yeah, FPS Boost. Now the other thing we gotta talk about, and it's all regarding Returnal, right? There was this thing that came up. People Jason Schreier, you know, he was on Weapon Wheel. I think they talked a little bit about it, but you had a lot to say about people being able to review games without beating them.
Absolutely, yes. So there was a tweet, and I'm about to paraphrase because I don't have it in front of me.
Absolutely.
Basically, the tweet said that you can review and score a game without beating the game, right? And I'm like, hell no, you cannot. Like, you cannot. And so, like, his reasoning was, I guess, is like, you can get the gist of a game in, what he said, like 10 to 15 or 5 to 10 hours or 10 to 15 hours, something like that. And I'm like, not necessarily true, right?
Yeah.
So David Gaines, who's in the chat, he brought up God of War, right? And he was like, imagine stopping right before you get the Blades of Chaos and giving your review and giving a score to that. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, because when you get the Blades of Chaos, that changes the gameplay and the environmental gameplay. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, that's really smart. Like, just imagine that and giving it a score, giving it a review. So you absolutely 100% have to beat a game to review it. Absolutely. Because there are things that at the end of the game that could switch your whole tone about the game, right? There's cliffhangers and there's after scene credits and I'm dumbfounded with this. Like, absolutely, you have to absolutely finish a game because you cannot tell me about the game in its totality if you haven't completed it.
Yeah.
Period. I don't care how much you played of it. If you haven't beat it, you cannot tell me about a game in its totality. Sorry. And so I was watching Jay Main's video, which is a really good video because he made some really good points. And so he was just basically what he said was just call it an impression. If you didn't beat the game, but you want to talk about it, just call it an impression and don't give it a score and don't review it. That makes sense to me. But yeah, man, that was crazy. That is absolutely insane. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. How do I feel? I don't know. It depends on the game for me. It really all depends. Like on a game. I feel like there's some games there's some games where you can play through a decent amount and give like a pretty accurate opinion. Now, if you can't, can you completely spoil a game? No, you can't tell the ending. Like somebody's like, hey, well, how does this end? Or who's this? Like, I mean, you miss out on a character or something like that. But in terms of concept, gameplay, visuals, I mean, you could get the visuals, I mean, like immediately, but like gameplay, visuals and stuff like that, story concept. Like, for example, do you feel like a game like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, do you need to get to the final ending of the game to give it a proper assessment?
Yes.
Do you think so?
Yes.
You really think so?
First of all, there are choices in the game, right? Mm-hmm. So those choices can again sway your opinion about the game. Mm-hmm. Sure, the combat is relatively the same. Is the same throughout, sure. But again, if I'm coming to you, like if I'm reading a review, I'm basing it on that you've played it from beginning to end, and you're giving me the totality. Like your opinions is the overall
of the game. Not the story. When you're reviewing a game, it's like if you're reviewing the story, that's one thing.
Goes into it.
Yeah, everything goes into it. But the thing is, right? The game is a package, right? And now I'm not saying I'm like supporting either. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Okay.
You have the story is one part of the game, right? I can say right now, right? If I don't have to finish a story, right, to say even to tell you if I think the story is good or bad. Do I need to see the story, how the story plays out all the way to the end and be like, all right, this is a good story or this is a bad story, right?
I think you do.
All right. If you believe that,
okay,
let's do that. All right, cool. Story's a portion of the game review. You got story, gameplay, visuals, audio, sound, all that stuff. So you're telling me if you played hours and hours on a game, let's say this game is a 40-hour experience, but you got like maybe 28, 29, 30 hours into the game, you pretty much got everything but the closing moments of the story. You can evaluate the story up until a certain point. You'd be like, you get to give a gist about the story because in reviews you technically aren't spoiling anything, right? You're not supposed to spoil the thing. You can give your opinion, a good opinion on the story up until the point you are, and still give a totality review based on other things like sound, graphics, gameplay, replayability. You can still give all that, and I think that's technically fair. Now, I'm not saying that. I mean, I'd advocate people to beat the entire game, but at the end of the day, the game in most games, gameplay is pretty much consistent throughout. You might have some bosses that might change things up on you a little bit, but gameplay is pretty much consistent. Once after the first few hours, you kind of learn everything you need to be doing in the game so that you can go through the rest of the game. Right? Games is pretty much ease you along. But if we're talking about reviewing a game in general, it's fair. I'm not saying that I think it's fair for one to be able to review a game if they haven't closed the credits on a cutscene based off what's required for a game review. You're going to talk a little bit about the story, right? You don't need to beat the story to talk a little bit about the story. Me and you talk about games that we're currently playing all the time, and we can give opinion on.
That's our impression of the game, not a review. Your
review can include impressions on the story so far, but everything else, you pretty much are good. I mean,
okay. Let me give you something. Let me give you an example. Yep. From me, I've started playing. Well, I played Persona 5 Royal. Only have 3 hours in the game, but I can tell you though that the game is based on palaces and changing people's hearts to things of that nature. I can tell you a bit about the combat, right? All this in 3 hours, right? Even though I haven't done everything about the combat because I know there's mementos that I haven't even touched, right? So can I give you a review of Persona 5 Royal after 3 hours? I mean, I kind of got the gist. You got the gist. All right,
but that's not fair though, because I gave a better because Persona is. Come on, we know how big of a game that is. You know what I mean? Your review might be a little bland. It won't be as opening and detailed as somebody who put maybe 30 hours into that game, and they probably haven't finished it, but they probably got a little bit more to say, a little bit more things to add, a little more things that you didn't catch. So you couldn't do a proper review because you played 3 hours. A person that played 30 hours probably didn't finish the game, but played 30. I think they could probably give a fair review. They can probably give a fair review. Now, we're on opposite ends of the spectrum. Now, the chat. I know y'all about ready to talk shit, right? I am not advocating for people to review games and not finishing. I'm just saying I can understand why people would think, all right, this is fair. I got the gist of the story. I already know what the visuals and da. I can formulate a decent opinion about the game. So
I like J-Main's approach. Call it an impression.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
okay.
That's fair.
When you totally beat the game, then give your review. But now, some people were saying people have deadlines. This, that, and the third. You know what? I don't care about that because, first of all, this is your job, so you should be dedicated to playing that certain game that you're reviewing. So deadlines, you could kind of miss me with that.
So what is your opinion? So game like Forza Horizon 4, what should one be required to do before they can review that game? Or any Forza Horizon game? I don't know if you ever played a Forza Horizon game.
Yeah.
But what do you? Because they technically have a campaign. It's a very bloated one. It's just you winning championships, right?
Yeah, but nothing is really changing in Forza besides the season. Because
I was called out for not beating the game or something like that when I reviewed the game long ago. Well, I think it was Forza
You're driving. I mean,
I was like, okay. What about? All right. What do you have to do in a game like NBA 2K? to review it.
See, okay, so those are caveats. Like it's a sport.
Okay,
it's a sport. I mean, okay, if you want to say you got to beat the what is it, the my player thing? What's the story part of it?
And they have story now.
I mean,
pointless stories.
That is true. I mean, it's a basketball game. Like we know what basketball is.
If your game, right, is based directly on its narration, like the story, like a game like What Remains of Edith Finch, it's just shit like that. You have to play the entire game through because it's in a capture moment where like, all right, this is what started, this is how it finished, and you get the whole entire picture. Like those Life is Strange type game, any 100%,
like the medium,
the medium. Any 100% narrative focused game, you have to, I would say, all right, it's fairly like The Last of Us Part 2. I feel like you would have to have finished the game to
absolutely,
even though it has a lot going for it. I feel like anything without beating that game is an impression. I feel like to give, like, because the biggest thing about that was the story. I mean, people were already had their mind made up on one scene where I felt like I thought I had my mind made up, but I feel like the second half of the game changed my approach on it. And do I really dislike how this game? I think I actually like how this turned out. I feel like it did its job. But again, this came off of Returnal, right?
It did.
So
like with a game with like Returnal,
think about this. This is how you can look at Returnal, right?
Okay.
You play through Returnal, right? You die. You start at the beginning of the game again, right? Isn't that technically game over? Think about it. Isn't it technically game up?
You didn't see credits roll, so I would say no.
Come on, it's not.
I would say no.
From what I'm hearing, there's no real major story that you have to really pay attention to.
I mean, but the story is there.
At this point, Returnal is what?
And the credits do roll.
What is it? At this point, Returnal is gameplay. What is it? Platforming.
It's
gameplay, platforming, puzzles, like rhythm mechanics. It's more gameplay and visuals of Returnal than there is story. So if there's not much of a story, you have to rely on audio logs. I think multiple hours in Returnal without beating it should be fair.
I would say you give your review, like you beat it and you give your review, but you critique that part of the game in your review after you beat it.
All right.
So you critique that part.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a super chat break before we get into the final. Faisal says, "How can you score a game without finishing the story?" Like I said, it depends. I feel like if you're a game like Returnal, which with y'all telling me isn't heavily story focused, that's like. There's a ton of games where you just play and there's not really much of a story to it.
I wouldn't say it's not heavily story focused because the story, it's not told well, you know. So that's why I say anyway that the story is kind of it's in the back of my.
I got a question for you, Dre.
Okay.
From completing biome 4, completing biome 5. If you stopped at biome 4, did you find that anything that your opinion changed on the game from end of biome 4 to the end of biome? How many biomes is there? 6, 5, 6
biomes
to the end of biome 6. What changed from 4 to 6 to end of 6? Other than the credits coming in at the end to let you know that you're actually done. What changed? I didn't play the game. You gotta tell me I didn't play the game. What changed from the end of biome 4 to your end of what added to that, to like your opinion or thoughts? And isn't this game randomly generated? Like ain't nothing's the same.
Right. I mean, okay, so you can go off of that. I mean, it's randomly generated. You can go off of that. I mean, the core is the same from biome to biome, right? True. That is true. But I can't. If I stopped at biome 4, I can't give you a review and then you come to me and say, okay, how is biome 6?
All right.
Well, shit,
I got a better question.
I don't know.
I got a better question. Biome 6, last boss, get your ass whipped. Never beat the last boss. Is it fair to review the game?
Oh, say that again.
Volume 6, last boss. Keep getting your ass kicked. You don't beat the last boss. Is it fair to review the game after you?
No.
Why not?
You cannot review the game. You didn't beat it.
But last volume, last boss. You see what the boss is like. You know his moves. All right, this is how. All right, this is the end of the game. But you don't finish. You can't.
Nope. You gotta. You have to beat the game.
Would your opinion change on the game?
Would my opinion change? Probably. I don't know, because if I completed it, but if I didn't, I wouldn't know what came after. So I couldn't really.
I'm gonna be funky with you. If I was pressured, if I had a date and I'm on the last biome, I seen the last boss a couple times, I'm publishing that fucking review. And if I ain't beat it, I'm publishing. I'm being real with you, because now I just think about. I'm like, wait a minute. You get to the last boss, you see it. He's kicking your ass. You ready to? All right. It's like, all right. This is. I'm at the end of the game. My mind's already been made up since volume 4 or 5. I'm at the end of the game. Didn't finish. I have an opinion. I got an accurate opinion of the game and how I feel. That's probably how some people gave it a 6 or a 7.
Your opinion would be, I'm getting my ass kicked so bad that I can't fucking finish this game.
Another super chat. Faisal007 says some games have evolving combat like RPGs. Oh god.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, going back to my dog David Gaines.
Yep.
Going back to his thing with God of War, I think that is the perfect example. Is if you stop right before you get to the Blaze of Chaos and you give a review. That is a no go. And there are a lot of games that introduce different mechanics.
Yeah, midway through. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Midway through the game. So yeah.
I forgot what game did that. They added fucking new mechanics, but you barely got to fucking use them shit because it was at the end of the game.
Like, my thing is like, okay, what are we playing games for at this point? You dig? Like, is the premise of a game is to not complete it? Like, what are we doing with this? You might as well just, hey, give me a demo, and then I'm about to review the whole game off this demo. Like, what are we doing? Like,
I don't know. I mean, man, I don't know. You got. I think it's. I feel like some people have. I feel like there's some games where you really actually don't need to like beat the finish the narrative to actually give like a story. I personally, now I've done that shit before. I ain't gonna lie. I'll keep it from. I'm pretty sure like early YouTube days, I've reviewed games that I didn't beat, or I started, or I felt like I played enough of it to give like a value opinion. But now as I got grown older and know more, I know the value of these dudes' opinions about some of these games is heavily weighted, and that people really care if you beat it now. So me, I think, but that was like, I didn't give a fuck back then, but like now it's like, I actually care about what I'm playing. If I don't like the fucking game, I'm just dropping it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I get review code for different games. If I ain't got a review, it's because I ain't like it. I dropped the shit.
So that's funny that you brought that up, because I was watching Hard Ace. He made a video about this as well. Yeah, and he kind of said the same thing about if he said, I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically was saying if he thinks the game is trash and he drops it, then he is valid to give a review on the game, and his review would be that he thought the game was trash, and so he dropped it. So right. What you said about dropping games, I kind of want to bring that to you.
Yeah.
As if, do you think it's valid to, if you drop a game because you didn't like it,
and I say, and give it, and see, that's where it becomes unfair. So you can't do that, because you said it would be, because Hardy said if he drops a game, he feel like he's in the right to review the game and just say it's trash because I dropped it. Right? It's trash, right? But do you agree with that? Since you don't.
Oh, no, I don't. I don't agree with that.
All right, yeah. Me personally, I'll tell somebody that I think the game is trash. I won't put a score on it. I'll be like, I think it's trash. Okay. It won't be a review. It'll just be an opinion for an experience, opinion from my experience.
Yeah. I'm okay. Just like, if you don't beat a game and you want to talk about it, just say it's your impressions. Yeah. Like this is your first impression
Yeah.
or something like that. But like, even that Tony Polanco dude,
yeah.
man, that dude is.
No, Tony Polanco's cool. God bless him, man. I mean,
God bless him. God bless him.
I get all right. Reviewers. Here's the thing. I get it. See, there's but people gotta understand. There's a lot of journalists in gaming who aren't gamers. You know, fucking news suck. Nobody wants to. There's no money in working for a regular press. Or magazines are done. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where you either freelancing from different websites and all that stuff is done. There's only gaming is popping. Gaming journalism is popping. You know, hip hop journalism ain't popping like that. You know what I mean? We all kind of just get access to me. We discover new artists ourselves on the net and stuff like that. So journalism, the only way journalism continues to live is politics and video games. So there's a lot of people who their job, like they went to school for journalism. They know how to write. They know how to speak. They don't know how to play games. And I get there's people on YouTube where, you know, views is everything. Timing is everything. Being first to get your stuff out. I don't agree with it, but at the end of the day, I don't hate the hustle. Because at the end of the day, what these people need to stop doing is relying on somebody's opinion to validate their game. That's the problem. The reason why Metascore is such a big deal is because people need a fucking trophy for their freaking game or whatever they're capping for. They need that trophy. They like, I need your opinion to be added to the score so I can put this over people's heads. It's like, bruh, I don't care. You know how many Game of the Years I don't want to play? Like I don't have no interest in. Yeah, I don't give. Like,
that's true.
It's like all these boring ass games. It's like, you know how many Oscars I don't watch? Like Emmy Award winning movies I don't watch because they're boring as fuck. Like, no, it is what it is.
Yes, sir. I'm with you.
Oh shoot, my sister. I gotta hold the fort right quick.
All right.
Because I gotta call my sister. I apologize.
Oh, no doubt. Okay, so chat. What do y'all think about it? Like, what do y'all think? Like, do you guys think that you should play the game in its totality before you can give a proper review? I see Frog saying something. I don't know what Frog is saying. I think he's saying that you have to beat the game, but I'm not sure. Like, to me, it's just like what are we doing? Like, what is the purpose of a game is to complete it from beginning to end, right? Like, okay, so like if there's a 12 chapter book, right, and I only read 3 chapters of the book or 5 chapters of the book, like, am I valid to give a complete review on the book even though I've only read 5 to 6 chapters of a 12 chapter book? Like, that don't make sense to me. Like, I don't get it. I do not get that at all. So I don't know, man. Like, that blew up, and that was just crazy. That was just insane. That just made no sense to me. I guess you could say there's a little caveats with sports games, racing games, maybe puzzle games or whatnot, but I don't know, man. That was just ridiculous. But anyway, man, how y'all feeling today, man? We definitely appreciate y'all hanging out with us, man. Definitely. Oh, hit the like button, dog. Oh my God. We only got 34 out of 69 people. Okay, that's good. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. But yeah, how's your night? How's y'all night, man? Hopefully everybody is blessed, you know, doing good in this crazy time that we are still in. It matters if it's your job. Yeah. Okay. Yes, as long as the person plays through at least 80%. See, I don't agree with that. 80%. Because in that 20%, something could change. I mean, it's kind of, what's the odds? I mean, sure, but something could change in that 20% of the game that's left that could sway your whole opinion. So I don't agree with that, Blade Runner. But I respect your opinion, though, for sure. Absolutely. Definitely respect your opinion. I just don't agree with it. Some reviews depends on reputation. of the studio does not see. I don't agree with that either. I don't care how good of a reputation you have.
What are we disagreeing on too? FaZe,
I'm just asking them what do they think about it. You know.
Okay. Faisal with the $5 chat. He says some of the reviews depends on the reputation of the studio that does no bad games, so they give good reviews. Or it could be the publisher or the platform holder, because I feel like a lot of these people that gave Returnal 9s and 10s and beat the freaking game.
Okay.
So
I misread what he was saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Some reviews depend on. Okay, so he's saying if a top tier studio, they can drop any game.
Naughty Dog, Insomniac.
Yeah, and they can drop any game and it could be reviewed good without. Or is that what you're saying?
Without finishing the game, so you're just giving like a pre
no, that's whack.
That's kind of trash. Like, no. You did this game, so we're gonna give you this.
Oh no,
no, that's
no, sir. Yeah. Because if we look at it in like a studio like Insomniac, right? They got Ratchet, which is dope. Sunset Overdrive, which is dope, but they had that one dog shit ass game Infuse, which is absolute garbage. And so yeah.
When was
somebody giving that a good score off of pedigree?
Where was their last 90 rated games? Insomniac. Not to say that but what was their last? Because I don't want to overrate them, but a lot of people are saying, hey, they're next up. They're gonna overthrow Naughty Dog as Sony's best.
No.
And I'm like, I feel like they're more consistent. They'll put out more. They'll put out more games than Naughty Dog will. Quality games. They'll be all great. They'll all be all great.
Listen, we got to stop comparing these studios to Naughty Dog and Rockstar. That has to
I think Rockstar is overrated, but okay.
Stop it. That has to stop. Naughty Dog is on another stratosphere when it comes to game making. So we got to stop comparing these devs to the best. Got to stop. There's levels to this, okay?
I think Naughty Dog only has like 3 games that are like low key, like 3 games.
Hold on, say that again.
Naughty Dog has 3 games that are like, I don't know why people think they're like god tier, but they only got like 3 games that are like that are worth a damn, like really worth a damn.
What's that?
That is The Last of Us, Uncharted 4, and now Last of Us 2.
Oh, you're not counting one of my favorite franchises of all time, Jak and Daxter.
Jak and Daxter is great, but Ratchet and Clank shitted on it for the entire existence of the. Jak and Daxter did one thing good, and that was being better than Sly. It was always second place to Ratchet, but ahead of Sly.
I was always a Jak and Daxter dude, man. Like I didn't really get into Ratchet until Ratchet PS4, really, like that.
Oh damn! Oh, you missed that. Yeah. Ooh, man, yo. Yeah. Jak was good, but the thing about Jak versus Ratchet is that Jak kept maturing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Right. That's the thing with.
I wasn't a fan of that shit though. His game started to get harder and harder. But last topic before we go, because we pushing on the clock and we're hitting our. Is Halo Infinite in trouble?
Ooh, so okay. So talk to me about it, because I've seen little blips here and there about how the development and stuff going in that little article. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, so one of the ex-employees, I don't know if he's a contractor or whatever, who worked on the game, talked about the struggles of the issues that they had with the game. That the executive were over ambitious of all the stuff that they wanted to put in the game, them having to cut content from the campaign and having them to cut content from multiplayer, and he says it's gonna be, I think he said it's gonna be, he thinks it's gonna be great, but it won't be no epic masterpiece. And I'm like, well, what the fuck is that? Like, I mean, I love Last of Us 2. I don't think it's an epic masterpiece. Like, I don't like, what is an epic masterpiece? What does that mean? Right? And so people are taking this and they're, there's like, oh my God, Trouble in Paradise. He mentioned, there's crunch. Yeah, crunch. Yeah, that's nothing new. Okay, crunch happens. I knew they're crunching. Okay. So I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't get it. And so people are worried, right? And I like, fair. We had the issue last year with the visuals and stuff like that. So, but here's what I took with it. When I read the whole thing, I didn't see anything that said, oh, damn, the game's broken, the game's in trouble, or this game, is struggling to do this. Oh, they might push it back. I didn't see any of that. What I saw was a disgruntled employee or ex-employee whose work might not make release, and he's probably disgruntled at the fact that he worked on it. It was something that, you know, obviously you do something, right? You want that to show. I guarantee you, if his work makes it to the final game, he's oh, I can't wait. You know what I mean? But I feel like whatever he worked on specifically got cut and it may not see the light of day, and he's disappointed. He's already moved on. Okay. And he's coming out and he's talking, right? But to me, beyond that, he didn't say anything that worried me. Crunch doesn't scare me. Some of the best games I played has crunch. So I'm not worried about if somebody's working overtime, right? That I work overtime all the time. So crunch doesn't worry me. I'm like, okay. So, and epic masterpiece. I was like, okay, do I expect Halo to be great? Absolutely. I don't. My favorite Halos, right, are Halo 3 and Halo 4, and then I love Halo 5's multiplayer. I think it's the greatest multiplayer ever, right? But I don't know what he mean. What does he think an epic masterpiece is?
So okay, I hear you. And that could definitely be a possibility. That he's just trying to stir up the pot. But I think a lot of people are worried because the last time we saw Halo Infinite wasn't in a good light, right? So like that's still the last impression of Halo Infinite that people have a what I'm trying to say here. That's the most recent. Like the most recent was what the disaster that we saw of Halo Infinite. So I think there is worry because I think people don't think that there's enough time for Halo to get this massive upgrade, right? Because like I'm looking at it as that the game will have to be totally rebuilt for it to.
Is your verdict based just on the way it looks?
Well, I mean, I get. Yeah, that last impression of that demo, you know, wasn't a good impression. I thought, and that's what I'm saying. That's what that's the last thing everybody has to go off on, right? Yeah. Like, so I say that to say I think we gotta wait until E3, right? I think that's where it's going to be shown. And so once that is shown, and then so like once that gets shown at E3. I think that is do or die, right? Because that, bar and large, is what Halo is going to be come release, right? So, you just gotta wait and see what that E3 demo is going to look like, you know, and pray to God that it's good. But like I told you before, though, Halo cannot be a good game, because it doesn't have the luxury. It doesn't have the luxury of being just a good game because it's Halo, right? Halo has to be great. It has to be.
This is why I hate the Metascore people who rely on Metascore, because the thing is that the problem is I may think Halo Infinite is amazing, but if fucking 5 mega sites don't and make that game an 88 an 89 or whatever, opposed to a 90 or 92 or what people need it to be respectable.
I think that I think the upper 80s is respectable.
Here, my opinion is this, right? 343 have always made the best looking Halos. There's hands down. I'm not worried about Halo Infinite on a visual standpoint. I do know Halo Infinite still has to run on an Xbox One, so it's only so much. It's going to have all the bells and whistles. It's going to be 4K. It's going to be 60 frames. They're going to have 120 hertz and all that other stuff. It's going to play great. They don't fuck up on gameplay. I know it's going to play amazing. The thing is with 343, I guess haven't executed is a proper campaign, a proper storytelling. It's one of the things they lacked. Even though I thought Halo 4's story was masterful, but I don't know. My thing is that when these devs come out, right? You know how many disgruntled devs came out of like Naughty Dog and all this other shit? And what was fucking Last of Us? A great fucking game. Absolutely. I've seen happy devs who put out shit games when they're speaking highly of their game. And they come out and the game's fucking a dud.
Yeah, true that.
All the time. And we see disgruntled devs come out, and then their games end up coming out and they end up being like pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good in some cases. You get these early reports, oh my god, you know what I mean? and their game ends up being pretty good. So I'm not too worried. And I want Halo. I can't do without I can't do another delay of this game. I think the game is making strides. It's looking better, but I'm not expecting this game to be like the defining next generation in terms of visuals. I feel like it's going to be the best looking Halo we've gotten so far. I still think the game's going to look visually great. I think it's going to play great. I just can't wait to see it at E3. But yeah, these stories comes out, and like I said, I think Halo will be fine. But it's crazy about how games. The crazy thing is, right? Halo hasn't scored a 90 since 2007, right?
Was that Halo 2?
3.
Okay.
So the fact that the last couple releases they have all been 80s, like mid-tier 80s. Halo Wars 2, Halo 4, Halo 5. Fucking Halo. Halo Reach was probably. Did Halo Reach score 90 something? Yeah, it did score 90 something. Halo ODST was like a 70 something, but that's a lot of people's favorite, which is weird. I think there's so much is riding on review scores now. Would it be nice to see that, green 90 or something next to it? Absolutely. But I've found myself in love with games that scored anywhere from fucking a 76 to a freaking 90 something. But I don't know what Halo's gonna do. I gotta rely on like a Jeff Grubb and a fucking and these other websites, Kotaku and stuff like that. I gotta see what their score is for that meta number to count, and I'm not relying on these guys for sure. That.
I mean, and that's how it should be. I mean, meta is really for the developer, but of course, you got the fans who take it and run with it. But I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm not the biggest Halo guy. I haven't even started Halo myself.
When are you supposed to be dedicating weekends to it?
Right. So I need to get playing. Like I told you before, playing on my TV and trying to look at a laptop it just sucks, right? So
Why would you need to look at a laptop? I'm confused.
Well, like for the chat and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it'll be on Twitch. But so I'm trying to get away from Twitch because it's Twitch is just much.
Yeah, too much going on.
Much. So I'm just trying to get it running on YouTube, right?
You got a capture card yet?
I don't,
okay.
Right?
That's what you need.
So, okay, and so like I'm probably going to like buy 2 monitors.
I got 2.
So that'll be
right
like a better viewing angle for me. Hold on. Say what?
I got to get rid of a couple of these monitors because I just bought a freaking. It was I don't know, but the HDMI 2.1 monitors coming out. The first one that's coming out is from I think it's Gigabyte. It's called Aurora, 43 inches.
How much is that, dog?
It's $1,000.
Lord. You might as well just get a 48-inch CX.
I was about to, and then that came out. So I was like,
jeez.
Yeah. I'll see if I regret it in a minute, but we'll see.
Like, seriously, you might as well just buy the CX.
I was about to buy the CX. I really was. I was like, I can't wait for these stupid ass monitors to come out, right? Yeah. Is they taking too damn long, so I was gonna do what J-Dub did, do a 48-inch and put it in, but that's just too big. It's not small enough. It's too big. 48 inches is too big.
But for the price you're paying for a monitor and the price you're paying for OLED,
the LG that was coming out, I was waiting for the LG, which I thought was going to come out first, is $899. I was waiting for that's 27 inches.
See, I can't do. Because you can, for $899, you can get a 55-inch like a Sony Bravia or something for that price.
It's like I want to go back to the comfort of my desk to play games, right? And so,
and that's the situation I'm in too. Yeah. Like the comfort of the couch, it just doesn't do it for me.
The Xbox Series X is a perfect desk console. It looks like a fucking mini desktop. So it's like, but the thing is, I don't like compromising. I hate compromising. So, and that's the reason why I'm like, that's why I bought 2 of them. I had 2 of them so I didn't have to compromise, right? So, but now with that, when the monitor comes out, I should have it by Monday. I won't have to compromise, and I can actually get rid of anybody want a Series X. I got an extra one. I might sell. Might sell that because I might not need it. The only reason why I had it is so I can go play comfortably on my TV and then go on this 1440p monitor.
Oh, so if you get rid of the second Series X, you won't be playing on the TV at all?
No, I wouldn't need to. I'll go back to. It says it will have every. I will only go back, right?
Is the LG monitor that you get in the OLED?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, so I'm not getting an LG because they don't have a release date. The one I'm getting is I'll tell you right now. Let me go to new.
I say because if it's not an OLED, I wouldn't even. I couldn't even go back to LCD.
Back. No, fucking LCD. Oh shit, LCD. The monitor fucking J-Dub told me was a freaking ultra LCD. That shit hurt my feelings. No, it's a QLED. It's a QLED.
Ooh, even still, though.
Nah. 100 is it 4K, 144 hertz, HDMI 2.0. It has the HDR, 1000 nits. It got everything that I wanted. The only thing that's gonna make me plug my Series X back into the TV is when Dolby Vision come out.
Right.
That's where I'm like, all right, let me try this out.
What QLED brand you got that from? If it's Samsung, I know they ain't getting no Dolby Vision.
Oh, it's a monitor. They ain't no fucking Dolby Vision. I'm not worried. That's what I'm saying. I'm keeping my CX. My CX is right here. It ain't going nowhere. I'm not getting rid of my CX. Right, but my
Xbox. I'm saying, you might as well just keep both of the consoles.
I might. If nobody wants it, you know what I mean. I ain't gonna keep it. But the thing is, like, and I gotta. Yeah, so. Damn. But yeah, so that's what the thing is like getting that HDMI 2.1 monitor. PS5, and I should be, and I'll have everything sitting on my desk. I just gotta do a lot of rearranging, and my wife got me a GoPro for my birthday, so those unboxing videos about to be lit, so I got it just in time, bro.
Nice.
I just don't know how to stick this shit. I might have to get one of those helmets.
Yeah.
But nice. Yeah, we can get out of here, dog. I mean, next week, big things coming. Trying to take the podcast serious, and maybe we can get some guests on this show. For sure. No doubt. See, I didn't know if you wanted to do anything like that. It's easy to control 2 people, but this podcast has I feel like it would be easier to have a guest on this podcast. Right. If for those who watch this show and not watch Planet Xbox, I should be having Destin Legary on Planet Xbox next Wednesday.
Nice. So that's hard. Okay.
I'm working out the details, but he agreed, and we're targeting on a week, and it should be a go. I will be, covering, some a game, something. One of my favorite franchises. Obviously, I'll be covering a game next week. I don't know if I can say right now because I think it's still under embargo. But you'll see if I post something on YouTube. And I think what else we got? I mean, there's a lot of. I want to play Hood. I'm about to buy that. but yeah, man. And then I'll be doing the Returnal challenge at the end of May, so that's going to be the next biggest challenge. So
when is your PS5 coming?
I'll have it next week. It's quick as
that's right, because you say you'll be big. Right. Oh, what do you think about? Have you been looking at Biomutant?
I want Biomutant. I just don't want to. To be real, I reached out to people on Twitter. I put in the application for it. I want a review code for Biomutant. Nice, I don't want to buy a last-gen game.
And that's because I even asked if it was getting a native port. And
I ain't gonna lie, the game looks good. I think the game's gonna be interesting. At the end of the day, if worst comes to worst, I would have loved it if it went into Game Pass. But if worst comes to worst, on May 30th, May 31st, I'll buy it. It's no big deal.
If it's not 60 frames, I'm not buying it.
It's $50. Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's $50.
I'm not buying it.
Maybe Xbox can brute force like an FPS boost on that shit. Like, just
I hope so.
Want to, but it's a $50 game, so I don't think it's ultra expensive at all. So
okay.
Yeah.
I'm done with 30 frames forever.
Yeah, man, I definitely can't go back because not even old games I'm able to get that 60. So, woo,
I can't do it.
But we appreciate you guys watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Let us know what you think. How can we improve the show? How can we make it better? What would you like to see next? You can also, channel members, I will be sharing a link to the Google Drive, right? If you join the channel, submit gameplay. The gameplay will be either used for LTG podcast or Planet Xbox, whichever, just record some gameplay. We'll open that up for you guys. It'll be on a post for channel members only. It'll be a shareable link that you can upload gameplay to. Do not upload any porn or anything like that.
Please. Oh God.
Yeah, but appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, and we will see you guys later, man.
See you next week.
Alrighty.